I am gaming. I am gaming. I am gaming podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Ivica. Thank you so much for being on the latest episode of I'm Gaming Podcast. This is a podcast about the video game industry, entrepreneurship, gaming nostalgia, global loss of jobs in the global game development industry, and many more cool things or not so cool things I find to be in the same business and creative venture domain. This is episode 212, and I'm continuing the thing that I started talking about in my previous episode, which is that the global game industry is racking up job losses all over the place. Now, the previous episode came out exactly a week ago, before the news broke that Activision Blizzard, is letting go of nearly 2,000 people from their payroll, which was a catastrophic news, but one that fits perfectly into the present course of the global development cycle for video games, and we're entering a really negative phase. Before I get into that, a positive thing is that I have a Patreon page, and I have my Patreon supporters who are responsible for allowing me to continue making these episodes, and a big thanks goes to all of you. If anyone would like to continue or start supporting me, please check out the link in the description below. It will take you to my Patreon page, and here you can become my patron and send me money every month for things like this episode. It sounds better. It's better than it sounds, for me at least, so please consider doing that. Anyway, Activision Blizzard, 1,900 jobs lost, layoffs, but that's just a drop in the bucket compared to the rest of the layoffs that are presently 25 days into 2024, according to a Kotaku counter, which is a article on a Kotaku website which is counting the layoffs. We're nearly at 6,000 layoffs in 2024, which is less than a month. January alone managed to rack up more than half of complete job losses in 2023. So in 1 month, the global game industry did 50% of layoffs that took place to the entire 2023. That is horrible news. But what is also very worrying is that layoffs are not just coming from the game dev domain, they're coming from the supporting industries as well. So Unity Software let go of 1,800 people, the big platform for development of games, probably the second biggest after Unreal Engine, or in mobile domain it's the biggest by any means, any measure. Also Twitch let go of 500 people, Discord nearly 200 people. These are all not games clearly, but industries that are tightly connected to the game development industry. They're all feeling the pressure, and they're all feeling the pinch of the very bad macroeconomic situation that is presently all across the world, and it is looking to become even worse in February and March, to be honest. So the Kotaku page is really important because it will continue counting these layoffs. Like I said, we're nearly at 600. I'm pretty sure that in the next week and first week of February, as we near the finalization, the final point of the Chinese fiscal year, which takes place in February, more layoffs will come into play and will happen across the game development industry. Now, last week I talked about the possibility of AI being used to, or at least being experimented with, to at least somewhat compensate the job losses, because there are no rehires on this scale. It's not simply a matter of exchanging seniors or mediors for juniors that kind of have lower salaries and are more easily manageable in terms of payrolls, but it's clearly a moment when loss of jobs is ultimate. So if 6,000 jobs were lost, people returning on similar positions will not count 6,000. It would be probably 5,000, 4,000, who knows. But substantially less. AI will play a part in that, but at the present level, in just a week since my last podcast episode, it's clear that this is not fueled by AI. This is basically fueled by the crunch of the economic setup and the fact that companies are not willing or able, more willing than able, to take a hit with a big payroll. They want to scale down. They want to let go of people so that they can diminish their overhead costs. But the problem with that is that those who remain are full of insecurities, doubts, and worries about their future, the future of their families in a financial sense, and the amount of work and the effectiveness of the work that will be taken by these leftover professionals is probably going to go down in the coming weeks, as many will fear additional layoffs and issues around that. So chances are that many projects will be scrubbed, postponed, or cancelled indefinitely, even if they're in an advanced stage of development, simply because companies won't be able to finish them in any meaningful form, and they will simply drop it instead of trying to salvage it or rack up additional losses. So I'm predicting that in early spring of 2024 we'll get the news of big projects being put on pause, being cancelled, or at least being postponed substantially because of everything that is happening. For a more immediate future, that counter on Kotaku, which is presently, like I said, on 5,900, will go over 6,000, and the numbers will continue to rise in the coming weeks, at least until the end of February. So all of this is something that amounts to a really bad outlook for 2024 in the sense of game development industry, which is a sorrowful and sad thing to hear and talk about, but still something we should, at least in my view, be aware of. So there you have it. That's all for this episode. It's a really dark, somber, and not overly optimistic or optimistic at all episode. Thank you so much for being here. Again, a big thanks to my Patreon supporters who continue to make this podcast a reality, not just an idea in my mind. I really appreciate each and every one of you, so thanks once again. Everyone else, please consider subscribing, being here for my new videos, and of course discussing everything I talked about here in the comment section below. That's all for me. Thanks again. Have a great week. Hopefully, if you're in the game industry, you're not going to get laid off in the coming weeks and months. My name is Ivica, and bye-bye.